Hey guys, it's Squall, and this is part 11 of Everlasting Summer. And if this suspicious music is anything to go by, our homeboy Semyon is about to make a life-changing decision. Will he, or will he not, eat the green apple? Oh, it's up to me. Fun times. Oh, we're eating it. Oh yeah. Finally hunger prevailed, and I started chewing on the ripe green apple with gusto. It has gusto on it? Its taste seemed normal. Though I don't think that even the strongest poison can be tasted. I'm not sure. But it's too late to think about that. It was time to go for dinner. Along the way I ran into electronic. How's it going? Did you find Shirk? You'd think after a while his arm would get tired from holding it up like that. No, still no sign of him. And as soon as I say that, he lowers it, making me look like an idiot. Don't worry, we'll find him. I tried to cheer him up. Too much time has passed. That's my electronic voice, by the way. I'll just keep on searching. What about dinner? No, finding Shirk is more important. He muttered thoughtfully. I left him at the crossroads and wished him good luck. Pioneers crowded in the doorway. I quickened my pace, trying not to be the last one in line, at least for today. And I was lucky. In the far corner was an absolutely empty table. I took my dinner quickly and sat at the table. Tonight's dinner consisted of fruit soup and a pair of buns. I have never heard of fruit soup. Is that a Russian thing? This set surprised me at first, but the taste was actually nice. I concentrated on eating. Lena, let's go here. Look, 3 free chairs. Lena and Miku stood in front of me. Are these taken? Wondered Lena. No, take a seat. Of course, I wish you were alone. Thank you. As soon as Lena said that, Xenia jumped out from behind her back. I'll sit here. There are no places left, she said, putting her tray on a table and sitting down, not even waiting for my answer. Sure, make yourself at home. I muttered sorrowfully. What? Nothing. To tell the truth, I wanted to reduce the whole company to just Lena, though neither Miku nor Xenia were causing much trouble. Except one was too talkative and the other was too arrogant. But nevertheless, they were absolutely harmless, especially comparing to some others I could name. Oh, it seems like I forgot my key. Don't worry, take mine. I was surprised by Miku's short reply. Do you live together? Of course, didn't you know? Together, our cabin is the rearmost. I mean the farthest from here. I mean the last one. I wouldn't have been surprised if somebody told me that Lena lived with Slavia. Or with Xenia at worst. Even electronic. But silent and shy Lena and excessively talkative Miku as a pair. That's really a surprise. Did you find Shirk? It's strange that Xenia is disturbed by someone's problems. No. Surely he is at the village buying cigarettes. Or vodka. She snorted. Village? At that moment the conversation got much more interesting. Got a problem with villages? No, just village people. Xenia looked amazed. You mean there's a village nearby? I think so, she said uncertainly. I looked at Lena and Miku, but they were busy with their meals and did not pay attention to our conversation. You mean you don't know exactly? Why should I care? Xenia stared at her dish. But there must be something nearby. Listen. Listening? I don't know. Will you let me eat? Seems like I won't get anything from her. Though there is a chance that she really doesn't know. The remaining time was spent listening to Miku talking about some nonsense. I was just going slowly mad in silence. Obviously, the first thing I did after getting out after that was inhale a great breath of fresh air. The sun was setting. I decided to take a walk. It's highly unlikely that I will find anything more exciting to do for the rest of the evening. That way something interesting could arise quite unexpectedly. That'll do it, kid. That'll do it. I was approaching the square when I heard a loud bang. It seemed like something had exploded. I was paralyzed. I am in a hostile environment, not knowing the rules and laws of this place. It would be better for me to run, but at the same time I was curious. Probably I would have just kept standing there, but somebody grabbed my hand. It was Olga Dmitrievna. Why are you standing here? Let's go and see what happened. Can't you ever manage without me? I begged her pitifully. It shouldn't be anything serious. I hope. When we came to the square, there was already a crowd of pioneers. Olga Dmitrievna vigorously pushed through the crowd and approached the crime scene. Obviously someone had tried to blow up Genda. But the attackers failed. The monument was still standing upright. There were only dim ash traces at the pedestal. Well, who did this? She looked over the crowd of pioneers. Surely it wasn't done by an organized terrorist organization. These guys all came here just to look at what happened. I noticed Uliana and Alisa in the crowd. Oh my gosh. Oh no. The activated carbon. And it looks like our camp leader noticed them too. You two, come here. They approached reluctantly. Why always me? If you think so. Show me your hands, name I can't pronounce. What's wrong with them? They're little. I looked closer and saw that they were smeared with black. Now it's clear. What did you make a bomb with? The junior terrorist seemed to hesitate over whether or not to confess, but then blurted out proudly. Activated carbon, saltpeter, and sulfur. Why exactly the monument? What did this honored man ever do to you? The fighter for the rights of... Besides, he gave... I did not think this is what she had in mind. He gave me activated carbon. She pointed at me with her finger. The whole square stared at me. Thoughts about the pointlessness of this act due to its small bomb size left me at that very moment. She stole it. I did nothing. Even if he gave it to you, I'm sure that Semyon would never take part in such a disgusting antisocial act. Yes, exactly. I agreed. I could hardly imagine how long she would have kept on scolding Alisa if Electronic hadn't popped out at that very moment shouting, I found it! I found it! Found what? Everyone turned towards him. He held a boot in his hand. Here! Electronic boastfully shook it over his head. It's Shirik's boot. I don't think that's anything to be happy about, homeboy. Okay, calm down. Tell us in detail where you found it. In the forest. On the way to the old camp. Old camp? Whispers ran among the pioneers. Old camp. The old camp. Are you sure? Absolutely. What's so special about this old camp? I joined in the conversation. It's nothing special, really, she stammered. One of the Sovyonok's legend tells the story of a young camp leader's ghost living there. She fell in love with a pioneer, but he rejected her, and so she killed herself. She committed harakiri with a kitchen knife. Next day, that boy was hit by a bus. Whoa. Liana ran out of the crowd. Bus? I refrained from asking about the route number. But science doesn't acknowledge the existence of ghosts, so we have nothing to be afraid of. There's more to this world than what we can see, if you ask me. Anyway, somebody should go there. What do you mean somebody, homegirl? You're the camp leader. Suddenly the crowd started to thin out. Olga Dimitrievna, it's almost night. Maybe tomorrow? No, we need to find the kid. I turned around and saw Slavia and Lena. What if at night something happens to him? No, today, right now. By the way, where is this place? Electronic roughly described to me the directions and told me the story of the old camp. The camp leader looked at me attentively. If you think that you're the only man here. I looked around the area. Of course. Electronic was quick to flee. I still didn't want to walk in the woods alone. If you ask me, I would. So this is what it comes down to, huh? Alright, well, Slavia and Lena have been out of these girls, the ones that have treated him with respect. So they're the ones that I'm cool with. I don't know what to do. I mean, if this was real life, I would go alone because I don't want to put either of them in danger, but I feel like it's important to the story and to the ending that I pick one. Damn. Damn, I'm sorry, Slavia. I won't have to go there alone, will I? Olga Dimitrievna thought for a moment. You may be right. We'll go together tomorrow. For the last few minutes I noticed that Lena had a strange look on her face. As if she wanted to say something but didn't dare to. The pioneers started to disperse, as if they had forgotten about Elisa and the explosion. Even our leader seemed to calm down and didn't react when the wannabe terrorists left the square hiding behind Uliana. We should go too. Yes. Night quickly fell on the camp. There's only a brief moment between the first rays of the setting sun till complete darkness here in the south, or maybe in this world. You don't have enough time to enjoy the variety of the sunset colors. It was too early to go to bed, but the leader confidently walked to her cabin, as if mentally dragging me with her. Olga Dimitrievna, I'll take a little walk. Okay. She looked at me intently but didn't find any reason to object, shrugged her shoulders and kept walking. I went back to the square. I didn't really want to look closely at the trivial damage done to the Genda statue. It was at the exact center of the camp. If you don't know where to go, you should start from there. I sat on the bench and looked to the west. I wondered if the earth here revolves on its axis as it should, or whether there was an actual north or south. It's hard to say. At this time, I didn't have any ideas on how to check the fundamental laws of nature. Hi. Lena appeared next to me as if from nowhere. Hi. Can't sleep? She looked at me in surprise. Well, yes, it is still early. May I sit? Yeah, of course. Sit down. I moved over a little. Saying a little was, in fact, an understatement. I actually shifted myself to the end of the bench. Thanks. Lena sat and looked at the sky as if she'd forgotten about me. It's sad. What's sad? That Shirk disappeared. Yes, things aren't too good. She was as calm as usual, keeping silent most of the time. She blushed and felt embarrassed only when she had to speak or do something. That same silence, which could be seen as awkward by many people including myself, was quite natural for her. I could hardly imagine Lena making an effort to carefully choose the right words to start a conversation or make a good remark, try not to look stupid or, alternatively, try not to look rude as Elisa. I just wasn't able to compare her to anyone. She was just content being herself. Does that mean that my attempts to start a conversation with her could be seen as rude? That the expression "become friends" could be interpreted as an intrusion into her private life? But something in this girl attracted me. Maybe it was her mysteriousness, and she certainly wasn't lacking in appearance or feminine charms. I didn't have an answer for that. That's why I still hadn't been openly accused of being annoying. I'm sure he'll be found. How could you escape from a submarine? Lena didn't seem to appreciate the joke. This camp must seem like a large submarine to me only. I hope so. Tomorrow Olga Dmitrievna will call the police. They'll find him for sure. And what if during the night... She looked so sad. Her expression grew sad. What if something happens to him? Alone at night in the forest, anything could happen. He must be lonely. No one forced him to go there. What if he just got lost? You shouldn't go walking in the forest alone. You don't have any pity for him at all. Shirk may be sitting there all alone. Of course I pity him. I felt ashamed. In any case, Lena was right. A person was missing. Anything could happen during the night. We aren't seriously going to search for him now, are we? She didn't reply, still looking somewhere far away, where the last rays of the sun shined over the tops of the old trees, as if trying to leave a bit of its warmth with the people. Do you really think that roaming around the forest in the dark is a good idea? Probably not. For some reason I was sure that was exactly what she thought. Recently I seemed to be starting to understand Lena even without words more often. And she seemed to be influencing me psychologically, making me agree with her. Lena's silence was more informative than any chatter or attempts at persuasion. They looked for him during the day already. Everywhere? She stopped watching the sunset and looked at me. I don't know. I think everywhere. What about the old camp? For the first time her words sounded self-assured and not vague or indifferent. Where is it? I have no idea. Electronic told us. Well, if you trust him. I grinned stupidly, but Lena kept looking at me seriously. Sure, if it's not too far. So, you do want to go? Of course I don't. We can, if it's just there and back, quickly. Okay? Lena smiled and gave me a flashlight, which appeared from nowhere. Yes, that'll be useful. Does this mean she'd prepared beforehand? And nothing was up to me? I sighed as if doomed and headed to the forest with her. Night fell on the camp. We walked slowly. Lena was next to me, but near but not too close. It was strange, but it looked like she wasn't afraid of anything. Moreover, she didn't seem to be bothered much about what we were doing, as if we weren't walking in the forest at night, but just watching a movie with other people playing leading roles. Actually, electronics said that the old camp was not too far, and if we walked straight to it, then it would be hard to get lost. After a few minutes, I was completely unsure that we were walking straight, and after a few more, it started to seem that it would be a miracle for us to even get out of here. But I didn't want to lose face before Lena, so I tried to walk cheerfully. The forest was full of silent, flickering shadows and gleaming moonbeams. The grass quietly rustled under our feet and the branches rustled over our heads. Old oaks stood next to the young birches. Large mushrooms emerged from under the latter, as if taking off their large hats in salute. On any other day, or any other time of the day, it would have looked really beautiful. It may be safe at night too, but nevertheless I shuddered at each gust of wind. Look! Lena pointed forward. I rubbed my eyes and saw a gap between the trees. In a minute we were in a rather large clearing. In the middle of it stood a building, which looked like a village school or a kindergarten. The paint was falling off the walls. There were several holes in the roof, like the aftermath of a bombing, and the glassless windows looked at us sadly and a little threateningly. It was not a very pleasant sight. I couldn't remember how I had imagined this place a moment ago. It was like all the images had been erased from my memory, replaced by this depressing graveyard view. Well, it's creepy. Lena was still standing silently, but a natural expression of fright appeared on her face. Do you think he's still in there? I have no idea. If I was sure, then a haunted house would be the last place I'd hide in. Shall we go? I didn't manage to answer. The moon appeared from behind the clouds and illuminated the clearing with new colors. Actually in one color, the white of the grave. I could see more clearly the distant trees, the mist shrouding them. It felt like the temperature dropped several degrees, making me shiver. Are you afraid? Lena asked calmly. Honestly, she smiled almost imperceptibly and took my hand. It would have caused a storm of emotions in any other situations, but at that time it felt like a basic necessity. We slowly walked to the building. Walking through the playground, I pushed the merry-go-round, causing it to creak nastily as it made half a turn. Lena shivered and grasped my hand tighter. Sorry, I probably just remembered my childhood. Did you like merry-go-rounds? Yes, actually. I don't know. I don't remember. Probably all children liked them. I didn't like them. Why? I got dizzy when I rode them. No wonder if you spin too fast. I once fell off of one. I liked swings more. Well, you can get dizzy on a swing as well. But why would you? I don't know. The conversation had distracted me a little and I stopped worrying myself about everything. About Shurk, about our night trip, about Lena. After all, this world is not so alien. Finally, we reached the doors. The inside of the old camp building reminded me of a kindergarten, the one I attended in my childhood. At first glancing, the room arrangement was the same. Shurk! grave-like silence replied to us. Even the wind outside had calmed down. Looks like nobody is here. We should check anyway. Lena's courage still didn't cease to surprise me. Or should I say, her lack of normal self-preservation instincts didn't. I don't know if this behavior is strange for this girl or not. Okay, let's do it. We thoroughly examined all the rooms of the old camp. I even inspected the attic. There were signs that people had visited this place everywhere. Newspapers, empty bottles, and other garbage, but there was no sign of Shurik. We returned to the hall where we had started our search. What should we do next? I have no idea. Lena sat on the steps and stared at her feet. I think we should go back. I began carefully. It's late and can just the two of us really search the entire forest for him? You may be right. She looked sad and her expression let me know that the search was not over yet. Well, I am. I waved my hands in resignation and sat next to her. We should think about the worst outcome. Are you saying... No, but... Are there any wild animals around? I doubt it. Lena calmed down at once. He may be sleeping somewhere. He'll wake up in the morning and return to the camp. Yes, of course. I jumped to my feet and started to walk in circles around the hall. I really wanted to leave this place, to get out from the forest, but it was as if Lena's behavior was keeping me here. I wanted to go on trying to persuade her, but then I noticed something on the floor. It was a trapdoor. There were little heaps of garbage and dust around it. It must have been opened recently. Look. Do you think Shurik is there? Wrong voice. Do you think Shurik is there? Lena squatted and carefully pulled on the hatch's handle. It may not be Shurik, but someone surely used it recently. I had already regretted finding that damn gate to hell. Let's check it out. The trapdoor wasn't very heavy, so you could open it without much effort. I directed the flashlight into it and saw a ladder going down a couple of meters. Looks like a cellar. Let's go down. I looked at Lena for a few moments, trying to understand what was on her mind. Did she have a craving for adventure like Uliana? So where's her youthful spirit then? Or maybe she just went a bit nuts. Lena didn't seem like a crazy person. But anyway, who even said she is really a human and you can evaluate her with human behavioral logic? That thought should have scared me, but somehow I didn't pay any attention among the millions of other thoughts. Some of them were more important. For example, what could be down there? Oh boy. I climbed down and looked around. Everything is okay. After I made sure there was nothing to be afraid of, I called Lena. We stood in the long corridor, which certainly wasn't a cellar. Its architecture more resembled KGB dungeons or a subway maintenance tunnel. I don't know which would be better. There were countless wires along the halls, fastened by metal hooks every half a meter. There were lamps under the ceiling, covered by rusted shades. Crumbled concrete crunched under our feet unpleasantly. Shall we go? Lena without any emotion. Where to? There? Well, yes. What if Shurik is there? What would he be doing there? In any case, I wasn't really able to refuse her today, so we forgot about our fear and headed into the darkness. Oh. Lena walked next to me, holding my hand. The silence of the dungeon was interrupted only by the sounds of our steps and water dripping from the ceiling. We moved forward slowly, maybe too slowly. I suddenly felt a surge of claustrophobia. I gritted my teeth and squeezed the torch, but loosened my grip at once, fearful of breaking our only source of light. Lena kept silent, and her silence seemed louder than any words. I started to fear. Say something. Door. What? There's a door. She pointed forward. We came to a massive metal door with a biohazard sign. Biohazard. Looks like a bomb shelter. Yes, I'd heard something about it. Why is it here? The Cold War. I have no idea. Maybe because of the Cuban Missile Crisis. Cuban? I estimated the approximate time of constructing the camp. Makes sense. However, building a bomb shelter here was like building an airport at... I'm not entirely sure I'm allowed to say that word out loud. At this place in Northumberland, or Lacock in Wiltshire in the UK. It wasn't deep enough and too far from civilization. The door wheel dully creaked. I had to push it with all my strength before it turned a couple of times. I made up my mind and opened the door with difficulty. We entered the room, which seemed to be the main living quarters. There were some beds, cases, some scientific equipment. They had been thoroughly prepared for a nuclear apocalypse. We didn't find any signs of Shirk there though. Look, Lena was holding a flare gun and smiling. Why would I need it? To fight monsters. There are no monsters here. At least I wanted to believe that. If you say so. I guarantee it. I didn't want to upset her, so I tucked the flare gun into my belt. It might come in handy. We thoroughly searched the room once again. There were 2 exits. The first was the door we had entered, and the other one was another door exactly the same in the left wall. For a moment I felt excitement, the urge to reach the end of this labyrinth and to learn what prize awaited me there. However, this surely wasn't a computer game, and there's no option to save. Maybe with this? Lena offered me a rather big crowbar. No, I'll give it a try without it first. However, the door didn't want to budge. It only creaked nastily and the door wheel didn't turn a millimeter. Okay, give it to me. It was too easy with the crowbar. In the end, the obstacle collapsed, hitting the floor loudly. The hinges were rusted completely through. I pointed the flashlight into the passageway. There was a corridor, just like the one we had come here through. Let's go? It was like Lena was constantly driving me on. Where are you rushing to? Me? I'm not. She blushed in confusion. Again, what should I make of her? First, she doesn't fear a thing, then she gets lost after a word. You look like you don't fear anything. I don't know. What should I fear? You will protect me anyway, she added, barely audibly. So Lena is counting on me. She believes in me no matter what. It's possible. Stupid, naive, but possible. I knew clearly that I couldn't protect anyone, even myself. Nothing is up to me in this world. The powers that brought me here could do anything. That didn't exactly mean that inevitable death awaited me in the end of the tunnel. It could be lying in wait anywhere in this camp. Let's go. I tried to walk faster, but Lena seemed not to be bothered by that, and she easily kept pace with me. This corridor was exactly the same as the previous one, in every last detail. There was nothing shocking about it, but at some point I got the feeling that we were walking in circles. The flashlight in my hand started to tremble visibly. The spot of light jumped all over the walls and the floor, and suddenly it lit up a rather big hole. The hole wasn't too deep, and down below we could see rails. What's down there? Looks like a mine. Shall we have a look? Why not go further along the corridor? I don't know. I think we should go down there. I estimated the height. It would be possible to pull ourselves out. Okay, let's check it out. I jumped down the hole and helped Lena to get down. It really was a mine. I wonder what they could have mined here. What minerals are in this area? I don't know. Well, yeah, stupid questions. Looks like there are none now. We headed into the darkness. It was hard to walk because I couldn't choose where I trod, wobbly wooden planks or uneven ground. I wasn't able to stick closer to the walls either. The narrowness of the tunnel forced us to stay between the rails, and I didn't want to let go of Lena's hand. Finally, we reached the fork. Just great. Where should we go? Where? I'm not certain that we'll be able to get out of here at all. Especially if we're going to play Pac-Man. Play what? Never mind. We'll get lost. What if there's an exit too? There may be one. What if there isn't? So, should we go back? I bit my lip till it bled and yelled as loud as I could. Shrek! The loud echo rebounded from every direction at once. Soil even fell from the ceiling in some places. See? Then I will go on alone. What? I grinned stupidly. Alone where to? We must find Shirk. He may be... Lena blushed at once and stared at the ground. No. That won't do. If we go together. Okay, then let's go. She smiled and took my hand.